Hey guys, Ray from Haloview RV. So I'm back with another Haloview review of another one of their Byte Tango systems, wireless rear view monitor. And I have reviewed two other BT Byte Tango systems. Started with their BT7. Now the BT was their newer generation that was able to do 1080p resolution versus the older 720p and had improved wireless reception as well. So I had installed last summer this BT7, and it was quite a good upgrade. It also had side cameras in this kit here and a rear camera and a big 7-inch display. So that worked quite well. And then in the winter, they contacted me and offered the BT12, a newer one, for review. So when I was down in the desert, you may have seen that review. Now this one was a little different. It had a very widescreen display, actually fit quite nice on my mirror where I like to mount them. You can see here I like to have it mounted here. This one came with just one rear view camera, but it also came with a dash cam. So I actually mounted the dash cam on the rear window, and that's worked quite well for me. I'm quite happy with that system. Used it on the way back from down south, so it's about 2,000 miles of towing under my belt with it and had no problems at all. I'll give you some footage of that. It also had what they call CarPlay and Apple Android. I never really used that much, but in the video I tested it. I'll link back to both these videos. Well, let's get some footage of this on the return trip for you. First up, a photo taken using the dash cam. Nice resolution there. And then the second photo is using the wireless rear camera mounted on top of the back of the RV. Not too bad. Then we have some moving footage here. This is just with the dash cam out the rear window of the truck. I use it when I'm driving around quite often, and then I don't have to pull it off the mirror. It's wired, so it's real time. There's no lag to it at all, so you can use it as a rear view mirror. And it's really handy for actually hooking up the truck too. When I'm backing in, I can kind of line everything up using that camera and get a better view than the rear view mirror has. Then next we have some footage of it hooked up with the trailer, so I can also use that to see what's going on with my hitch if there's any problems or anything. Kind of handy if we're worried about something going off the rails back there or something loose in the bed. You can quickly see what's going on. And then finally we have the rear view, wireless rear view from the trailer, and this is like a cityscape, so it kind of gives you an indication. There is, when you're moving, a little bit of stutter, not too much, but the resolution is quite nice, I think. And you get a nice view out the back and a nice wide angle view of what's going on. You can see all the different lanes and stuff like that. And of course, it records, which is really handy if there's ever a problem. So there you go, not too bad. So their new BT11 is a little different of an animal here. It also has a wide screen, but it's a little smaller screen. It's also touch screen, but it doesn't have the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. But this one has a built-in blind spot detection system. It just has the single rear wireless camera you put on the back of the RV, but it has actually a built-in dash cam that slides out from the edge, so you don't have to mount the dash cam separately to your window, which is kind of handy because this thing just can be taken off with elastic bands when you want to use it and put back on. So I'm kind of eager to test out that blind spot. What'll happen is when the car comes up either side of you as you're traveling, it can come up with a kind of a tone, which would get annoying, but it lights up red, so you kind of know there's somebody there. So it's kind of a touchscreen affair. You can see it comes with bands. There's the dash cam there. So yeah, kind of interesting unit. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to install it for you and give it a quick demo. And then kind of to break up the videos, I'll come back with a review video, it's part 2 video. I'm going to use this on about a 120-mile trip that we're going to take in a few days, so I'll be able to give you some footage on the road, and we'll test out that blind spot functionality. Has kind of a nice display screen on it, a kind of a matte finish that helps get rid of reflections. You can see there's the dash cam or the rear view camera. It installs on the back of the RV, so I'll show you where and how I install that, and then we'll show you how the thing hooks up inside your vehicle. It's very easy, just basically plug and play inside the vehicle. On the back, you have to kind of find a 12-volt system. There you go. So let's get to installing it. Give you a quick look at what's contained in the BT11 kit. Owner's manual, of course, with installation notes. Right here we have the power for the display, and it also has 2 antennas that connect to it, and it just plugs into a 12-volt power socket. And then it has a connector to connect a wire that will go up to the display to power it. We have a rear camera. This will get mounted on the back of the RV, and then what you have to do, hardest part of the thing, is to find the 12 volts back there and splice into it to power the camera. Many people will use the marker lights or running lights and use power from that, so when they turn on their lights, the camera's on. Actually, on mine, I did it a different way and went inside the RV and grabbed 12 volts so I can have it always on if I want, for like a security or whatever. A few things here, parts. Some screws for mounting the camera. Got some crimp connectors for splicing into the 12 volts. I think this plate is to mount to a Furrion. A lot of RVs will have already a pre-wired camera slot, and they might not have a camera in there, and this thing is an adapter for that. And there's a rubber gasket. If you're not using that, you can use this to mount it flush. We've got a nice long cord to go between the power socket and the display. There's stuff in here. This is the power cord for the camera. And then we've got antennas. Got an antenna for the camera and 2 antennas for the power module for the wireless camera. We also have this power conversion box that will hook up to the display here. And another box in here, we have a power filter between the transmission box and the monitor. I guess it just filters out any spikes as far as the vehicle goes on the 12-volt source. Then we have a GPS that gets plugged into the display, and then it can just be stuck onto the dash somewhere so that the display knows the location and your speed, which is critical for doing the blind spot detection function. We have another little cord here. I believe this is the adapter to go from a Furrion kind of OEM camera mount to the Haloview plug. So they really include everything to mount all the different ways. Here's your display module, and here we have a few things on it. Let's say here we have an included SD card to give you, I think, a 64 gigabyte, and then you got your USB plug, AV in, GPS plug. And on the back here you have a little speaker, and then you can see here that's actually the dash cam, which will be a forward facing dash cam, and it can go out like that as well. And then these rubber straps are for mounting on your rear view mirror. Cool. So let's get to it. First I'm going to show you the camera mount on the back of the RV. I already have the other camera from the previous, I think it is exactly the same model, so I'll probably leave it in here, and I can just pair this display with the other camera and not have to replace a camera of exactly the same model. And then we'll go in and hook everything up into the truck and give you a look at all the features on it and give you an initial test. For the rear camera, I'm going to use my existing BT12 camera. It's the exact same model as the BT11, and I won't have to take this apart and change it. But what I did is I screwed it to the back of the RV. Right around the roof line is where they recommend it, so you can put it on the roof line, or I just have it below, and then the antenna there. They say up to about a 42-foot rig it can handle. If this doesn't work, you can also get an extender antenna that screws into there, and you can move it up further to get a little bit of extra range. A lot of people will use the marker lights for power, so there's 12 volts here. When you turn your lights on, then the camera will come on. You can usually run a wire down here, take this apart and find the 12 volts and splice in there, or you could drill a hole and fish a wire up through. What I've done though is, because I had an existing junction box here, I have a cell booster antenna there, and I had already run that through into the rig to hook into the internal amplifier, so I use the same channel for my 12 volt power, and then inside I actually have a 12 volt switch. Created a little switch for it, so I can just turn on that switch and my rear camera is powered. Anyway, we'll see how that works. They want you to put it in the center of the RV, especially on this one, because it has that blind spot detection, so that way you can set up your calibration for the road by having the camera right in the center. I find this is a good position to see the vehicles right behind me as well. Just used a crimper there, and the provided crimps. Got a good connection. I've actually tried the display, and the camera is working right now, so I'm ready to mount it. If you're wondering about this green wire, they use that as I think a trigger wire for like signals and stuff, or backups. So if you wanted to use this as a backup camera, you could have the trigger wire come on when you put the truck in reverse or the RV in reverse, but I won't be using that function. So here we are in the truck. Just strapped it onto the mirror. Those bands worked pretty well for that. Pretty easy to get it on the mirror. Sits on there pretty tight. And we got the wires plugged into the top. The GPS plugged in. Normally these wires will be hidden behind the headliner and down the pillar and around. I got the GPS. It showed in the manual you can stick it on the dash somewhere with a 3M tape there. This test I just have the wiring loose. And then there's quite a bit of wiring so that you can hide it behind the headliner and everything. And then down here connects to the little power filter box, and then this wireless transmitter and power pack plugs into your 12 volt socket there. So the other one, the BT12, I've used it for about 2,000 miles of towing. Didn't come loose or anything, worked pretty good, I had good signal. So I expect the same with this one. So we'll fire it up and see what she looks like. I've turned on in the camper, I've turned on the rear view wireless camera. Right now I'm actually not hooked up. I'm just visiting my sister, and I'm in her driveway. So I'm actually not hooked up, but it should have enough range to pick up that, no problem. We'll see what kind of a video we get. As far as the dash cam, I just have this slid out. It slides in and out so that it can have a forward view there.
Parking mode off. An impact was detected during parking mode.
That's my other dash cam talking to me. There we go. So there's the rear view. Showing a garage door right now. Looks pretty good. It's hard to tell with the camera how bright it is, but it's got pretty decent brightness. I can see it quite well. It's not sunny today, kind of cloudy out, but shows up pretty good. And we can touch a touch screen here. We can switch to the dash cam view. So there's the dash cam view. Adjust it there. This is actually showing my dash cam, so that wouldn't show up in the picture normally. Just give you a closer view here. that's more of the brightness. It's kind of nice. There's kind of a matte finish to this, so it's not too reflective at all. Nice. I guess you can have either view. And up here it's showing the GPS is connected. You have time, date, and it would show speed, and it's showing north there. So that's the GPS readout. I think you can decide to have that displayed or not in the settings. Over here we have the time, and then the red dot is telling me that it's actually recording to its micro SD card right now, the video. If you look down here, this is showing a green light that the power is on. And this has several buttons. This is power on and off. There's NP. That's just to switch systems. This is sold worldwide. So in North America we use the NTCS system. They use PAL, the kind of video system in different parts of the world. So if the thing looks scrambled, you just press that. You might be on the wrong video format. Over here we have a light bulb. So this thing has a spotlight out the back that you can turn on and off. So I guess if you're backing into a campsite at night, you could turn the spotlight on. And then the thing that looks like a chain there is the pairing button. You hold that for 3 seconds, and then you would go to the camera and press a button on it, a pairing button, and then it would sync up in case you were replacing the camera. This thing came automatically paired, so I didn't have to do anything. It just fired right up. And then this is to change the flip it upside down or around or mirror, so that if you have the camera mounted in a certain way, you can press that button. I'll show you that. Back up here. Each time I press that button, the view changes, so now it's flipped upside down, and then it flips left to right. And that's so you can set it up if you're using it like I am as a rear view mirror, so that you know the cars come up the side you would expect them to come up. Another icon on there, you can see. Let's see if I can get that in focus. There's a little antenna looking thing, and it's showing that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, so that's a really good signal. That gives you the signal strength. Manual says you want to at least have 2 or 3 bars there. Otherwise you may have some problems with the video dropping out or not being as clear. So like I say, it's a touch screen. When you touch there, it can pick up the sound, so you can turn sound on and off on the microphone. You can lock a video, and then it will lock 30 seconds worth of footage, I believe, in case you see something and you want to save it. This switches between the two cameras, dash cam and rear view cam. And then you can take a picture. Maybe you have to not be recording to take the picture. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, you can't be recording. So if I want to take a picture, it would take a picture and save it. Back to recording there. Here's the playback function, so you can play back things right in the unit itself, and you can look at pictures. What else we have? We've got a settings button here. And here we go. So we've got screen brightness, low, mid, and high. G sensor, low, mid, high, and off. That's if somebody hits you, it will set off a G sensor and it will record the audio or record the video for you and save it. Blind spot detection enabled. Always on 50 kilometers or 30 kilometers, which is 20 miles or 30 miles an hour. And that's if you don't want your blind spot to work while you're going slow. Like if you're in a city, there's going to be cars passing all the time, so the blind spot detector would keep going off. So that way you can set a speed before it actually starts start working. And you can have sound on and off on the blind spot. And they have, let's get timed out there. Inexperienced driver or experienced driver, and screensaver for this. So if you're using it as a rear view, you just want it off. And we have language setting, English, sound, low, mid, and high. That's just for these beeps here. And then the on-screen display, speed, direction, clock only or off. Mirror image on for, you know, if you're going to be using it for a rear view mirror. Format the card, factory reset, clock, that sort of thing. And then I'm not going to be able to set this up too well in the driveway, but I'll show you this blind spot detector setup. Auto calibrate won't work because I'm not on a road. So it says failure, so then you go yes to manual. So left, say the left lane is right here, and then I go next, and I want to go to skyline. So I pick there, next. And I want to go right lane, say we'll pick there, next. Calibration successful. So I'm going to have to do that once I get the trailer going. What's going to happen is when I'm going down the road and a vehicle comes up on one side of me, that rear camera, it's going to know when a vehicle is moving at a certain speed in here, overtaking me. Supposedly a light is going to happen over here, a red light, and I could have a sound happen as well. Opposite side to be an opposite light and a sound, which is pretty cool. So once we get that set up, I'll be doing a test. Right now I got a few more days here, but I'm going on a 150-mile journey to the next RV park that I'm going to be staying in. So I'll be back, and we'll have some footage of it in action and let you know how it's performed on the road. I just wanted to get you a first look at it and show you how the installation went. Till next time, Ray from Haloview RV. Cheers, everyone.